for example, agriculture or the industrial and the real estate and so on, that kind of areas, people know that there are huge market size, but people think that consider somewhat difficult for startups to enter. But recently, the spread of the AI and 5G and robotics and IoT, the many ways to digitalize and innovate traditional industry have been discovered. And I feel that these areas became where startups and technology can truly work.
Hi everyone, this is a Peking University and Expression Society again. Today we are bringing another part of a series of short interviews, and we are honored to have Michihiko on our interview and podcast. And he's a general manager in KDDI company, which is investing in Chinese startups. Could you give us like your introduction? What do you do in China, and how is it going right now?
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm Michihiko Kasai. Just call me Michi or Kasai. I'm a head of KDDI's corporate venture capital arm in China. KDDI is a telecommunication and internet company based in Japan and operates more than 100 countries. And not only telecommunication, we provide finance and e-commerce and various services. As a representative of CBC in China, I'm in charge of investment and business collaboration with Chinese startup companies. I worked more than 10 years in CBC, invested in and did business collaboration with startups in Japan, US, and then last September, I came to Shanghai as a founder of China office, and just started to working and talking with startup companies in China.
Oh, sounds very cool. And when you are like doing the startups, what industry do you think that like the nowadays founders should focus on?
Yeah, so actually today, actually all fields, especially those with larger problems to solve, are more appropriate for startups. So I every day meet a lot of startups, but also have a chance to talk with people in the major enterprises, including executives. And actually every large company, even a company in the tech field, believe that they must innovate themselves and would like to make alliance with startup companies. So I feel all industry have become areas where startups should take on, but in particular, I focus on huge traditional industry and new social issues. So, for example, firstly, in past, for example, agriculture or the industrial and the real estate and so on, that kind of areas, people know that there are huge market size, but people think that consider somewhat difficult for startups to enter. But recently, the spread of the AI and 5G and robotics and IoT, the many ways to digitalize and innovate traditional industry have been discovered. And I feel that these areas became where startups and technology can truly work. So I believe, and also I believe in this field, there are still issues that people recognize that's really inconvenient, but not solved yet. So that areas the startup should work on. Also, regarding the new social issues, for example, I think one of the biggest social issues recently is carbon neutrality. The, like the SDGs that solve social issues are also looking for the startup ideas and technologies. So in past, there are the concerns that it would be difficult to make a business in this field, but government and companies in various countries are beginning to seriously tackle on these issues. So the potential for business is really increasing, and I'm paying very close attention to these areas.
And because like you are mentioning a lot of like traditional like industries like real estate, do you feel like they're like huge challenges? Like what are the most like biggest challenges when you're a startup? Because some of those industries are like very slow. So where do you feel like where's the most challenge?
Yeah, so I think in this field, startup companies sometimes, how can I say, run into challenges that they cannot handle on their own. For example, the product itself is really good, but it's not used by due to the industry conventions, or that's really good product, but it will take um, really long time to monetize it. So at that point, I think the alliance with the appropriate partner, including investors, is really important to overcome these challenges, especially in these areas. So for example, of course, the product must be good, but if the startup companies can find the influential first customer, they use the product and spread that in the market. That's accelerate the growth of the startup companies. And also if they can find the companies that have sales capability, that uh, they can grow more quickly. So the alliance will be the key and important, I think.
And when a startup looking for the partners, how do they actually find a partner?
Yeah, so it's difficult, but I think the important thing is to meet a lot of person and talk about your ideas and what you are enthusiastic. This will lead to meeting with key people in the industry, and some opportunities will come to you. But the important thing is to choose the person or company that's really thinking about the development of the industry, or having a startup first mind, not just the immediate profit. So yeah, through this process, maybe the company can find a good partner in the industry.
I see. And because like I heard a lot of stories about China that you need to have like sort of a government approval. Do you feel it's a very different approach towards to the Japan? Like this is like the Japan like the how to say economy, or like like the startup scene, like in the partnership way?
Uh, it, well, actually, it depends on the case, but the basic is same, I think, in Japan and China and maybe other countries, to go into the traditional big uh, industry and make a big change. It's important to make appropriate alliance with the government and other key players. And at that case, yeah, the basic is not so different. And yeah, I think so.
Okay. And like, is there like any advices how to, let's say, overcome these challenges when you're like entering the post markets?
So, so actually, recently, the all government and companies are willing to make alliance with startup companies. They really want to make open innovation. So it's a huge chance for the startup companies to use the resource of the big companies and government, and they are really willing to do that kind of things with startup companies. So if you have how can I say, difficulty or don't know the enough knowledge about the industries, it's good to talk with a lot of people in that industry or key person of the industry or program, I think.
And do you think it's when you create the new industry, right? Like for example, let's say blockchain or cryptocurrencies, do you think it's very hard for those governments to adapt to that, or do you think they're like more slowly looking? What's your perspective on new emerging industries?
Mm, industry. So yes, depends on the countries and the situation, but in sometimes in this field, there's no, how can I say, concrete rules regarding the really new areas. So it will be a risk for each company, but regarding the startups, in this field, in many cases, a big, how can I say, competitor will not come to these areas at the first time. So maybe really good opportunity for startups to make a market and rule itself. So there's of course risks, but there's a huge opportunities for the startups to make the market itself.
I see. And how does your company like helping those startups? Like, what's your like what your company can actually offer to help those startups?
Yeah. So the KDDI's uniqueness is that we can invest in wide range of fields of companies like PwC, but also supporting the business itself. So sometimes the KDDI is originally a telecommunication company. So I'm asked that KDDI's investment fields only in telecommunication and internet, but that's not true. Yeah, we invest in B2C and B2B and deep tech and even genetic technology as well. And not only the investment, we will consider the possibility of business collaboration with each company, and we really consider whether that will really good for the growth for the companies or not. So for example, for the B2C service, the KDDI is the second largest shareholder of smartphone in Japan. So we have a lot of customer base, so we can do joint marketing to the customers. And also we have a large sales force and connection with these large companies. So we can co-sales their product. And also we can support for technology such as 5G, and we have a branch in various countries. So there's possibility for us to support investees expanding to other markets, especially in Japan. So I could do same things for all investees, but we have a lot of examples of forms of business collaboration. And we believe that we can provide a variety of support, especially if they want to expand their business to Japanese market. So we can invest and do business collaboration. So that's our uniqueness.
I see. So like you're offering a lot of possibilities to go to different markets, not just only Chinese market, but also like Japanese market and maybe like USA and other branches. Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Awesome. And for the last question, maybe how's the like investment process in your company? Like, do you invest in the early startups or in the ideas or in the later stage when growth?
Yeah, so we mainly invest in a series A and B, but it depends on the case. If we find a good synergy with the company, we can invest in a later stage of the company. So yeah, we invest in really various stages of the company.
So like you, and what's your most like criteria for the startup? Does it has to be like like hockey stick growth, or does it have to be like good synergy and the founder understanding? What's your like, KPIs for investment?
So hopefully we would like to find a, business synergy with the KDDI Corporation, but also we like to expand our possibility through the investment. So we invest in a various fields like B2C and B2B and technology areas. So yeah, actually all technology area is our investment field, and hopefully we'd like to a good synergy with our investee companies.
That's pretty cool. So like if our one of the students can like start a company, we can contact your company, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and we will be in touch very soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your time today.